If I were to tell you that 1 in 5 children in the United States go hungry at some point during this year, you'd probably be shocked. You might even be a little angry, maybe a little saddened. The extremes of you can look at that simple statistic and donate to local food banks or research how you can make a difference. Some of you, while admitting that it is sad, will choose to forget and move on with your day, and no one would blame you. Right in the middle, the majority will hear that information, have a legitimate want to help, then ultimately do nothing. But what if I were to tell you the story of just one of the 16.2 million children who will go hungry this year? 3-year-old Sarah from Ohio. She's too young to join her 6-year-old brother Bryce when he visits the summer food program at his school. One of the staff running the program noticed Bryce was going through the trash after he had already eaten a meal. When he was asked why he still needed more, he said, "My sister, she's hungry." Now, I'm not trying to make a point about starving children in the United States, though it is a problem, and if you feel so moved in any way, you can visit the following websites and find out ways to help. I'm simply making a statement about storytelling and why it's so important. When you talk about the world's problems, the broadness of it can feel disconnected. That so many people go without food or fresh water, or they're living below the poverty line. They're sad and disappointing facts, but how can any one person help all of those people? And if you can't help them all, then why try and then fail? But when it's personal, when you think about 3-year-old Sarah and her 6-year-old brother Bryce, you can see children, 2 small, helpless children. And it suddenly doesn't seem that hard to help if it's just Sarah or it's just Bryce. There is one reason why storytelling is so important: empathy. Stories like this one allow us to see the world through the eyes of someone other than ourselves. And when we do that, we wish them the best in happiness and in life. After all, that's what we want for ourselves. The best told stories are ones of triumph and tragedy, overcoming impossible odds, and most importantly, love. But empathy is the cornerstone to all of those things. We've all endured a failure. We've all enjoyed a victory. We've all experienced love, falling in and out, and everything in between. Stories are the common language. The reason we go to the movies is to be entertained, but when a story is good, you feel a connection with the characters on screen. Their success is your success, and when they fail, it hits you just as hard. That's why you cry when someone on screen suffers a broken heart, because you yourself know what it feels like to feel a hole in your chest. Stories are important because empathy is important. Empathy makes us more understanding. Instead of making hasty judgments, you take the time to imagine a life living as another person and understand that the choices that they've made or the situation that they're in may have been no fault of their own, and you wouldn't want to have judgment passed on you for something that you had no control over. Empathy makes us more patient, like when a new cashier is training at the grocery store. Instead of getting frustrated that they're taking up your precious time, you remember what it was like when you had your first job and you cut them some slack. Empathy makes us strive for fairness. After all, if we're seeing others as ourselves, we deserve a fair playing field, so they do as well. Storytelling can make the world a more friendly place. Imagine children growing up saying, "That's not fair." And instead of thinking about how the world affects themselves, they're looking out for the world to be more fair for others. Instead of, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, I want another new toy," they're asking if they can donate some of their own toys to kids that might not have any. If you tell the right stories, if you take the time to acknowledge the over 7 billion people we share the planet with, if you choose to show varied perspectives and empathize that every single person's experience is different, but related, the empathy can exist, and we can look forward to a kinder and gentler future.